today on the G3 Boardroom, we are reviewing The Great Wall. Now, we did a meh unboxing of The Great Wall, and we had a great playthrough of The Great Wall, but this is going to be just a killer review of The Great Wall.
I think Jason's opinion of this game changed in the last 5 seconds. He went from, it's okay, to, this is the greatest wall ever!
It is a fun game. It's a fun game. It's cool because you get to, build these things.
Sorry, am I kicking you there, buddy?
No. You get to build these things. The pieces are different. What you're trying to do in the Great Wall is it's one of those comparative games. We're all competing against each other, trying to go down the honor track, and whoever ends the game with the most honor is the single winner. But we have to be working together
We are
in order
all
that.
to lose.
We are all honorable.
Yeah.
Yes.
None of us are without honor. I'm going to say this. A word on pieces. This is the miniatures version of the game. And so
Okay.
there are 2 versions available. One of them, I think, is just cardboard pieces. This is the minis version of the game. And if you are an expert painter of miniatures, then these are fantastic.
Yeah, a lot of detail on these
Those
things.
are really, really good. So just a word on components. The cards, they're of nice enough stock. Those aren't going to bend on you. And they don't get a lot of play. So I wouldn't bother to find a way to secure these. I would probably sleeve the command cards because the command cards, it's a nice stock. It's a good card, but they get played a lot. They get held in your hand a lot. So I'd probably sleeve those.
Yeah, I guess. I mean, I didn't hold mine in my hand really that much in the
Me neither, but
in
they
the
get
game.
more handling
But,
than everything else.
They get some.
The problem is...
There's only 5 of them for each player, or 8,
6.
6. So you're not, spending a ton on sleeves. So
The problem really is that these are the ones that do get handled, but I'm not going to sleeve them because they won't fit back in the box if I do sleeve them. They give you this wonderful apparatus to sort your stuff out in, and the cards won't fit back into it once it's all done. Other than that, you've got the resources are good enough. The gold is a nice chunky thing, and then the other ones are just little painted pieces of wood. They do good enough jobs.
The cheese is really nice.
It
Cheese is
the gems.
nice, as are the wounds. The wounds are unnecessarily awesome. I don't understand that.
they are nice pieces. It's nice that they're different shapes. It's not just a cheap, just one shape for everything. The only thing I don't like is that you probably can't tell on camera, but the wood pieces that you hold in your hand are more of a brownish color. But on the resource where you gain wood, the shape is the same, but it's pretty bright orange, bright red on there. So and it's a little bit different, a little bit distracting.
Oh, we'll come to the things I don't like about the game momentarily. Go ahead, Bob. Thoughts?
No, just one thing is at first I thought it was a heart.
Yeah.
When you flip it over, it's actually blood.
It's blood dripping.
Oh, it's a blood dripping.
Yeah. So that confused me at first. I was like, why is that a wound if it's a heart?
Right.
But no, I really like the building aspect of the game. There's worker placement. There's like 3 different types of areas or aspects that you have to work to.
I am horrible at worker placement games, but this one I was able to get my brain around. And I did win, but it was super close. Jason
close.
I was only beat Jason by 1, but I mean, he didn't do a few things that could have gotten him some more points.
I'm sure Bob did
by the way,
too.
we were supposed to take that away from you.
Oh, okay. Thanks. That hurt me more than I thought it would.
I did one. I don't know if we want to start talking about the dislikes, but I think it's a great game. Had a lot of fun, pretty evenly balanced. Each of your guys, has special abilities, which are pretty evenly balanced. But I got some things I didn't like, and I get into that whenever you're ready.
Okay. Well, let's go into that, and we can start with Bob because you and I are probably going to talk 10 minutes on those each. So.
Honestly, I don't really have any comment on anything I didn't like about it.
Okay. Okay.
I mean, it is a little bit long, and I guess the amount, it takes a little bit of time to learn.
Okay.
So.
Well, I'm going to start with this, and the things I don't get to, then Jay will get the jump on. First, I'm going to start with the rule book. I started to read this rule book on 5 separate occasions, and it is a difficult rule book to get through. It really is. There's a lot of symbols in this game, and those
Yeah.
symbols, for some reason, are in the margin on page 6. It doesn't make any sense. I'm flipping through. I'm like, where are these things going on? There are actions that take place in the game. There's a glossary on the back of this book, and those actions are not in that glossary. That also
Yeah.
makes no sense whatsoever.
Right.
It bugs me. And so the rule book I struggled with. I finally powered through it, and we have what we have.
This thing needs to get on
But it helps
guys.
also to play and,
If you
kind of
watch our
work out.
playthrough, and I advise you to do so, I sit here with the rule book on my lap, and I've played this game a couple of times, and I still have to sit with the rule book out because, for whatever reason, I can't put my mind around things I have in here. And I'm good at grasping games. I just can't.
But there's a lot of like turn order things and triggering things,
Yeah.
and
Yeah. And you
if-
need it as a quick reference for sure.
yeah, I kept wanting to jump ahead, but it's like no, we have to go in this specific order or things will fall apart.
Right. Another problem I have in this game, I do really like the table presence that it has. And these things are simple cardboard, they're fun to build, but it does give table presence. But this board sucks. it's terrible bad. The place, it's worker placement, but these things are difficult to see, difficult to read, difficult to understand. It's a huge board. And then the most important thing in worker placement is getting more workers. It almost always is the most important aspect. And they cram it down here in the corner. It's this itty bitty little thing.
Yeah.
And it's apart from the other things that trigger on a one-off action. It's like someone forgot to put it on and then crammed it on there in the only real estate they could find.
Well, I know we had to reach a lot because we're sitting at one side of the table.
That's true, but you would be on the other side
On
if
the
we're
other
not
side.
doing this here.
But that still is, it's going to take up a lot of real estate.
It's a huge board. Sitting from where I am at center table, I cannot read these at all, and so my brain ignores them.
Yeah.
We can't see the artifact cards at all, so my brain ignores them. And it's a lot of stuff, and it's a big board, and I think they don't use a good enough definition of what these
Yeah, it's
things
not obvious
are.
where to put the guys and stuff. One thing I didn't like was that your player markers that are tracking your honor, they go onto squares that are smaller than the markers. So it's very easy to lose track.
lose track
and there's
where it
no,
is.
Yeah.
And there's no inset. If you're going to have a track with 100 spots on it, and they're all, it should have some kind of inset, or the player marker should be maybe smaller.
And that actually came up in our game. You asked Bob, you're like, hey, is Jason on 94 or 95? It was
Yeah.
at one of those points, and we didn't know because the piece is too big.
Yeah.
But those are my major complaints. I dislike the board, and I dislike the rule book.
I'm wondering if it would have even been better because more action was done down here if the board was oriented that way.
I don't
Turned
know.
90
I
degrees.
mean, you're still going
Maybe.
to have to be reaching like crazy
Yeah.
down there. And there are instructions in the book, like in the lower right-hand corner of the board. And so,
True.
and if we did turn it that way, then this portion here is now over here. It's an interesting point, and if you're sitting around the table,
Yeah.
I guess it's not as bad as I'm envisioning it. But
For a longer game too, though, I would expect people to stand up.
Yeah.
We sit because we're being filmed, and
Right.
that's how we have things framed.
I
yeah.
played this a couple of times, and I'm always center board, and it's been an issue.
Yeah.
Now I'm going to let you go ahead, and then I want to come back to something else. Don't
Yeah.
let me forget.
Well, I just say overall, I think it's a really good game. I don't have any other complaints about it, but I know that you have another complaint
I do.
about the 2-player version.
Oh yeah.
Okay,
Well,
we'll talk
I'm sorry.
about that
Did I get
for a
all
bit.
your stuff? I stepped on you.
No, we're good. We're
Okay.
good.
All right. So I played this as 2-player competitive. And when you play it as 2-player competitive, there is a, for lack of a better term, AI system. You play with a third player. The problem with that system is who's ever first in turn order controls almost everything that guy does. And so you can manipulate it. And it's like playing 2 against 1.
Yeah.
And it's brutal. I mean, it is bad. It is broke as a joke. I played it with Dave, and even Dave is just like, when Dave starts to take it easy on you in a game, it's because it's gone off the rails, and he knows he's making it a bad experience for the other player, so he stops doing it. But the decisions you're able to make are simple stuff, innocent stuff that doesn't seem like it's huge. For example, what that third player does is if they're on a resource thing, they always produce resources, and it's fine, but they always go to the group pool. So what he would do is since he gets to pick the order in which places activate in, he'd activate where the guy's putting resources in the pool, and then he'd activate build and take all the resources out of the pool, and he'd just hammer and hammer. It's broken. At 2 players, it's broken. And it really made it a negative experience that it was. I told Dave we were going to record this, and he's like, "You actually want to play that again?" I'm like, "Yeah, I need to give it a try and see what's what." But that's all I wanted to say about that.
What's the maximum number of players for?
It's 4 with an expansion. You get 5. I have that expansion at home.
Okay, I had a great time playing this with 3, and I think that if it was
Well-
4, that would be great too. Because sometimes the more cards you have
Yeah.
down here being played, the more players, you get synergies, and your card is worth more if someone else had played another card. So
How come there's only 3 slots for?
The other side of the board is 4 or 5 players.
Oh, okay. So the whole board.
Yeah, we're supposed to flip it halfway through.
That's great for a lot of replayability.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And now I've said a lot of negative things about this game, but I'm going to sum up.
Last comment. I really like the artwork. However, some of the text you need is like an eye chart.
Oh, yeah.
Until you understood what all the icons were and what they stood for, it was a little bit hard for me to read, especially if there's a glare on the card.
And some of the symbols are really close together.
yeah,
Yeah.
there's some symbols. I didn't like the close of the symbols. The text is a little bit small, but it's a good contrast.
Yeah.
So there's some legendary games where it's like really, really hard to read the text, but this one I didn't have any problem with at all. So
Right.
for me, it was a positive experience playing the game. I can see past the
Yes, he won.
the track,
Yeah.
but there wasn't like a constant annoyance of
I had this constant annoyance. It's like right here.
yeah.
Right.
Not here.
Not here so much. Right here.
I won twice.
I would say this. I think it's got its warts. It does, but it is a good game. I enjoyed it. So I'm not. It's called the Great Wall. I'm going to call it the Good Wall.
The good one.
It's the good land. I would say it's good. The determining factor. This is an expensive game. With the minis, the mini version, this is $120. It's an expensive game.
Oh yeah.
It's beautifully crafted. I like that about it. But for a worker placement game at $120 that I would say has warts, you have to know if you like worker placement games. If that's not your stick, this is not for you.
Yeah.
But other than that, it's a good game.
Yeah, I would say that the pros outweigh the cons for the most part.
Definitely. The
Yeah.
warts I have with it, I'm able
They're
to
minor quibbles.
I'm able to work my way through.
There's not as many broken rules that make it bad. It's the cards are hard to read. These the trackers are a little bit hard. The rule book is difficult.
The rule book sucks.
But it was precise though. Anytime we had a question, if we had to refer to it,
Yeah.
it had the answer.
If I could find it.
Oh, well, sure. Okay.
But and the like I said, the board, I would
Yeah,
do
the
it
board's,
differently. The board
a problem.
is rough.
Yeah.
What would we call that? You need the stick from like
Need
You need the rake.
the rake.
Yeah.
The rake. Couldn't remember the name.
See, you're thinking of casinos where you need the rake. But
Yeah.
what you need to be thinking about is like Indiana Jones, where they have the war table and the
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
bad people whose name you can't say are pushing around the arms.
Isn't any war room.
The enemies of all mankind, those people.
So overall, I think a pretty good game, but buyer beware. It does have some issues, especially for that price point. Go ahead.
Oh, if you've played this game before and if you have a differing opinion, go ahead and share it there on the bottom. We'd really appreciate it. Go ahead, like, subscribe. That would really help us out as well. But this is a good wall.
Well,
Solid. It's good. So.
all right. We'll see you next time.